Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another live stream, Facebook Live for our art and music, actually art class for Fridays. This is our 7th week, I believe, maybe even our 8th week. I'm not sure, but in any case, thank you for watching. Share the video. We're gonna do probably a couple of projects. We're gonna work on a painting, a new painting. With some ideas from before, and we may get to a more of a arts and crafts type of thing. If you're a parent at home, this last assignment is going to be something that you can do, that anybody can do, essentially. So we'll work on a little bit of a painting, and then we'll switch it up to a more of an arts and craft, paper mache. Something much more simple that you can also use those principles to elaborate and make bigger ideas. You'll see what I mean when I start working on that. So as always, my name is Efren Luna, Cultural Alliance for Long Beach. As always, let me go really quick over the projects that we've done. We did a grid technique assignment. This one right here, can you see that? Right, so we did that. I'll hold it up for a little bit. So this is the picture we copied, and we did little squares. Right, we did little squares, and we gridded it, number the squares, copy different squares, and basically copy square by square. This is a great technique. It requires a lot of patience. You can actually do anything. Just don't give up, just keep trying. This one is my sample here for some folks was a little bit more advanced because of all the shading involved and things like that, but not to be discouraged. You can do simple images. I couldn't find the drawing I did. It was a small bird, like for children to do, but you can go back and watch like the second episode or the second video number 2, and you can see from beginning to end how I did a sample for children with a much more simple assignment. So this was our first assignment. I believe our second assignment, I might be out of the order, but these all assignments were done live. So this one right here was also created live here from scratch, from imagination. This type of assignment was something that was from memory, not necessarily like planned. For example, like the drawing was just kind of like just from memory. I might have done something with similar things, but it's not the same. Shout out to Jackson is watching us live. Comparte, Jackson. Comparte, por favor. Share our our live feed. And I'm doing that live too, Anyway, so this was our second assignment. Let me go to our third assignment. I believe our third assignment, our third assignment was this. This was an abstract. It started from an abstract idea, and you go to video number 3. And you can see how this sort of came about, right? So this was random. My daughter made several lines, and I had to work from that and make something out of that. That idea was great. Like you can work back and forth with like 2 artists on the canvas, right? That one, this was different because I worked on it myself, and the idea is that you work on it with another person. Now my daughter helped me. She helped me with the lines. And that was about it. I kind of just had to work, but the idea is you make a line, you work on the drawing or the drawing and painting, and you give it to somebody else. Like from your household, like a brother or sister, and you trade off and keep adding and they can change things, you know, and that's kind of like the challenge, okay? That's kind of like the challenge. Shout out to Yayo who's watching us. Yayo donated a couple of canvases. Once again, thank you. So this canvas right here was, you know, it came in really handy. Actually, Yayo donated 2 canvases. Thank you, Yayo, for joining us. Share the link if you guys can. I appreciate that. Let's see, what else do we have here? We have this one. This is this are all done that I'm showing you, right? This was kind of like sort of like urban graffiti type of thing, you know. This was it's, like I said, we started from scratch, you know. There's kind of just going over all the assignments we've done. You know, I encourage everyone to keep working at home. This one had a lot of steps, you know, and I kept working on it on my own time. You know, so, you know, so keep trying, you know, keep working, you know, we're almost, the quarantine is almost over. Like, I don't know if it's going to be completely over, but in a way, it will resume, you know, we'll see how that goes. But, you know, but we're still going to be doing this live videos for art and music. So you could also, you know, continue to work at home, you know. The best part, one of the best things about the videos is they stay on, they carry on, you know. And then this one was our, what is this, our 5th artwork. Yep, our 5th artwork. This one, I think I'm almost, I want to say I'm done. I may add up a few things, but not tonight. This one I'm done with. I was inspired by a sculpture here from the gallery, you know, and thank you, Cheryl Crow, for watching our video. We appreciate that, you know. Thank you, Yayo, Jackson, and everyone else that's sharing this link. Usually I do a little intro before I get into the art. It gives me time to share. I'm sharing live as we speak, so kind of like trying to get more folks into the chat, you know what I mean? Like try to get them to watch and comment and things like that, you know. But again, the videos, they stay on. People can revisit. That's one of the advantages of this, you know, live streaming technology. So very colorful, you know. We have the eyes in blue, the nose in green, purple. It's pretty much like very simple, sort of like 2-dimensional, but with the background, it gives it a like somewhat of a, almost like a 3D. I haven't did any like highlights to emphasize the three-dimensionality. I'm messing up on my words here. I'll just say the 3-dimensional aspect of it. There you go. That was better. So let's move on to the next one. The next one was an abstract painting, and the colors became opaque after I was done. I'm not gonna work on it anymore. It's very dark, kind of like, I worked live, so I didn't, the colors were kind of like overwhelming each other. So the thing is, thank you guys for putting thumbs up. I appreciate that. One of my friends that watches this video, she says, "Oh, I'm not into the abstract, you know," and she's, "Please don't do that again," you know. And you know, basically, I'm gonna go back to the premise. The art is in the eye of the beholder. El arte está en el ojo del que lo tiene. Someone a long time ago said, one of my friends said, "Life is art," and I'm thinking, oh, great, you know, like if life is art, then it's a big party, right? Like, you know, it was his opinion, you know. It's his opinion, and in that sense, it's valid. If you don't like certain styles of art, it's valid. You don't have to do those. I wanted to do a rounded experience, you know, representational to abstract and something in between. So anyways, Here is another one. This one I started on my own time per se. I kind of was influenced by the first one. This one I was influenced by the first one. I worked on it live, but not during this class time. Actually, I did live on one of my art, music, and culture pages. And, you know, I kind of did like this landscape or seascape. And then I started drawing on it. You know, this one, then I started drawing on it. And I realized like some of my drawings have this theme, like kind of whimsical, you know, not real type of things, where like in one, I was looking at my sketchbook and one of my drawings had like this castles floating in the ocean, right? And I thought, you know, because that's not necessarily reality. So then I made those and gave it like a ship, where right here, right? You know, so we have, so now they're not necessarily floating. So it's a little bit more of a fiction realistic, where like you wouldn't have a little house or castle on a boat, you know. I mean, they have the yachts, you know, like the celebrities put in that big sign, we're all in this together, right? Well, you know, this is my way of sharing something positive to you, you know, showing the art. I drew with the Sharpie over, so this was totally like not planned. I kept going to the theme. Today I'm gonna work on this one. I'm gonna work on this one and maybe another artwork, and finally maybe a little bit of craft. So if you're still watching us, you keep sharing. That's why I keep introducing these artworks to give me a little bit of time to share this link in different groups, right? So you can get folks watching us. We're gonna start in maybe like 2 minutes. You know, these are assignments you can do at home. Shout out to Yayo for donating the canvases. Shout out to Lisa Hernandez who donated for the class. If you'd like to donate, there's a Venmo link on the there's a Venmo link on the events, but it's not you know, that's not why we do this. It's just there if you can. If you know, we don't do it for that purpose, but it is there if you want to you know, help out a little bit. Anything is greatly appreciated. Thank you. Now, okay, can we put the camera now to the drawing? So I worked on this spontaneously. The background, it wasn't planned. I was actually covering up a prior drawing of an artwork that was pretty much abandoned. And we do recycle here in the gallery, like I mentioned before. So that's why I use the canvas. This is a recycled canvas. I'm actually out of canvases. If you want to donate canvases, send me a message. I'm gonna start drawing because we don't have any more canvases. Maybe doing a little bit of craft. But in any case, we're gonna keep going. Maybe I was actually thinking that, you know, these classes are a little bit different, and you know, they're the best, or the next best alternative to just canceling everything, right? So now with this drawings, I'm gonna just go ahead and put a little bit of white. It's not like I'm erasing the drawing, but I do wanna white. I'm kind of like priming this pictures or these drawings, because I am going to I'm going to color them, and one of the things is that if you use color over another color, it stays dark, right? So it's kind of like I'm priming certain areas. Now this is not the ideal technique for this, but you know what? I'm improvising, and I'm being creative, you know. So not only am I painting, I don't think I've painted in this form before, but I thought, what the heck, you know, like we could create our own. We don't have to paint in the same format that everyone does. You know, like I'm changing the idea as we speak, or the steps, I guess. You know, a little bit of experimenting as we go too. You know, like I said, these classes are not geared towards professional artists, because if you're a professional artist, you already know what you're doing, right? You don't need me to tell you this is the way you paint or etc. You know, like maybe you might want to see some of my ideas, but you know, this is more for regular folks, you know, and that's why I'm doing this for all those folks. So I'm gonna kind of like priming this, because I'm gonna give this color, you know, I'm gonna give color to this, you know, to this. I'm gonna give color to this, you know, to this little images. I have like hot air balloons, you know, kind of like flying over. And then on this side of the canvas, I have this like small ships, kind of like, which is odd, you know. I don't know. This just sort of came to me one day. This whimsical ideas from watching you know, fantasy movies, I guess, like you know, like stories of kind of like the Lord of the Rings, you know, or maybe what's the other, I can't think of other name of movies. I haven't been watching that many movies. I know a lot of folks are at home watching movies, but you know, like, well, here's the ocean, right? Here, this is like a volcano I'm working on, right? You know, this is volcano I'm working on, and let's see. I'm working on this volcano right here, right? It has like kind of like fire coming out. So this white's just sort of like a primer, you know. So I'm gonna have to wait for this to dry out before I add color, you know. And sort of like improvising here. Right on. So let me show you what I have here. How's that looking? You got the camera there. Thank you. My daughter's helping me with the camera. Appreciate that. All right. Let's see. So we get to kind of like improvise, right? So that's gonna need to dry, right? So in the meantime, maybe I can touch up on the water a little bit. So let me get a little bit of the blues and greens. It's kind of like too light, but it's cool. I kind of like that. You know, I kind of like that. I kind of like that. You know, it's. All right. So hopefully we'll reopen, you know, responsibly at some point. We don't have a specific date, but we will let you know. Stay posted for updates. We will follow the safety directions from our officials, you know, our health officials who are out there looking for the best thing for us, you know. So we don't have a date as of now to reopen the gallery, you know. So unfortunately, I can't tell you, but we will at some point in a responsible way. All right, and then we'll resume our regular operation hours, or operating hours. All right. All right. So while this dries up, I'm gonna work on maybe a little bit of an arts and craft. So if you have aluminum foil at home, I know I'm jumping from assignment to assignment, but if you have aluminum foil at home, you maybe want to have that handy. We're going to do a little bit of a paper mache, a little bit of sculpture. Um, we're going to simplify our assignments. It's kind of similar to what we do. Like the sculptures that we're gonna do right now, they're small scale. They're nothing big, nothing to be afraid of. My daughter actually came up with this idea. Well, she did learn it in her school, and she did told me how to do it. So I thought it was great, to share along to the kids. We're just gonna modify it a little bit and add an element of what we've been doing here, So actually, as Jared, can you get a square of aluminum foil ready? And before you cut it, just cut one out for me so I can follow the steps. You're gonna pretty much guide me through this, and I'll guide the folks watching the video. So right now, guys, I'm actually like adding color to the ocean water. All right. Yep, so just kind of like adding this bluish, greenish, highlights to the water. Well, this white rice is drying pretty fast. It's actually a pretty hot day today. So we are still in spring, but we're getting closer to summer. I think we're probably at the end of spring. And maybe we got a few more, maybe one more month before the school semester is over, which is weird because I was talking to my daughter about this. I was like, when is school over? And it's kind of been over as a traditional sense, but I meant as far as the official date for ending the semester, they are continuing online, So shout out to all the parents out there who become homeschool teachers. Is a challenge. I'm an educator myself, and trust me, it's a challenge. We were not expecting this, but nevertheless, we do our best, right? We get lemons, we make lemonade. That's the idea. Right. So I'm kind of having this blue overtake. Right. All right. So you have one for you, so I can follow along. So if you're at, actually point the camera to me. All right. There we go. All right. So if you have if you're at home, you have aluminum. Just grab a square, maybe what is this? Maybe 11 or 12 inches square. Right. Well, let me give you a heads up. You're probably wondering, why should I do this if I don't know what I'm making? We're gonna make little figures. And then, where's the dinosaur? Give me that dinosaur. Yeah, so I'm gonna do a small figure. Here's a small figure. We're gonna start with something small. But essentially, you can do this, right? In fact, let me bring another sample. Just point to the painting while I come back for bring a bigger sample. There you go. Let's see. Okay. So, we're going to work on, okay, now you can show this. Okay. So, while these, sorry guys, I'm working on several assignments, but you can keep painting. If you're at home, but you can watch and paint but I'm going to let the white dry so then I can actually color in a good vibrant colors on these, on this canvas. But we're gonna do a small sculpture, and the idea for this will let you make something big like this dinosaur. You can see the dinosaur there, right? And then you can also evolve and make, your sculpture into like something larger, like this shark. Okay, so this is where the samples of the things that we can do with the same idea. But we're gonna start off with something small. All right, we're gonna start off with this this sculpture, and we'll guide you step by step. Now, I do have to mention that if you do want to make bigger sculptures like this, you probably want to use some object in the center and use as like your body. Like this is straight up aluminum foil, okay? And this is there's other material in here like cardboard or like newspaper or things like that, okay? But you can do this with aluminum foil. You don't have to use up just aluminum foil. Excuse me. You can recycle. You know, use up like discarded plastics. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. You can, and then you can just use. You can use a combination of aluminum foil, discarded plastics, aluminum cans, things like that. You know, be creative. Don't be don't be afraid to explore and experiment. You know, if all else fails, we can start again. You know, remember that. So now that I introduced what we can do, so something simple. So I'm gonna follow my daughter's steps. Can you actually point the camera to the table? So if you are following along with this aluminum foil, you could probably go to the kitchen, cut off a square, and follow along. And I'll follow my daughter's steps. So go ahead, baby. I'm gonna follow your steps. She told me how to do it, but I thought like if I could. So you're gonna need like a marker maybe, or a pen, or something to write on this. Yep. So Sharpie is okay. And then let's see. So what do? We do a line in the middle. All right, so a horizontal line. All right, horizontal line. There you go, right? So this is simple. What do we need? Scissors. Hand me a pair of scissors too. There we go, good. All right, so as you can see, we need we just need a square of aluminum foil. Elizabeth has joined us. Hola, Elizabeth. Estamos haciendo un poco de escultura. Si tiene aluminum foil en su casa, nos puede seguir. Okay, so at the bottom, you make a, like right in the middle. Right in the middle, you make a line. Let's see, how far do you go up? Right up to the line. Okay, there we go. So cortamos, we cut right in the middle. All right. And on the other side, you can just work, and I can watch you and describe to folks. On the other side, we don't go right in the middle. We go like maybe a third. Maybe we cut the other side in thirds. Right? Cortamos un lado en una mitad. Le hacemos cortaditas. We make little cuts. On one side is half. On the other side is a third. So now you have something like this. All right, go ahead. What else we do next? All right, this is we crunch it up.
In the middle.
Okay, we crunch it up in the middle.
Wait, you need to make sure these parts are like not crunched up.
Okay, so we're gonna crunch them in the middle. Okay, I'll just wait and watch my daughter. Okay, so here's the tricky part. You're gonna crunch it together, but try to not crunch up the. Is that okay? No. Okay. Let me see yours. Okay, so crunch from the sides, huh? Like this. Okay. So basically, crunch it in, kind of like a bow. Now you have a bow, right? And thanks for the likes. Gracias por los likes. Okay, so now we have like, tenemos como un, what do we call it? Like a bow.
You spread them out like the pieces, like this.
All right, and then you spread them out. Spread out the pieces, right? We have 5 pieces, right?
And you start crunching up.
Here you go. It's like a.
And you crunch them up.
Crunch up the center or crunch up the pieces?
The pieces.
Okay, so the center, let me try to. So the center, you try to seal it together by crunching it up. And now you have Now you start crunching each side like this. Okay. Okay. You can see it's forming a shape. Right? It's forming a shape. It's forming a shape into a human. Look, this guy, I even left his head up.
And then you make like a neck and then his head.
Oh yeah, okay, so you pinch a little bit to make a little bit of a neck, right? Now the middle's not sticking together, but not to worry, we're gonna fix that. Just keep crunching, keep crunching. Now I made this guy kind of big so you can see on camera. I didn't crunch as much as I wanted to. But here you go. Here's the little guy. Can you see that on the camera? So you see there's another little guy, right? Let me see the one my daughter just made. No, my daughter's like, you know, she made hers like really nice. And so we got like these little characters, right? We got these little characters. Let me put the dinosaur here. So essentially you can make the dinosaur, right? Here you go. There you go. You can see those over there on the camera. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna use, oh, here you go. If you have a tape, hey, Art Martinez just joined us. If you have tape, masking tape is good. You wanna use that and cover them up. You wanna cover, can you see? Actually, can you focus to me? Okay, good. So you wanna use let me move this guy's out of the way. So now you saw the dinosaur, and the way this dinosaur, it was pretty much the same concept. We probably used discarded objects to use as a body, and then this little objects actually focus on this guy's mom, the camera. Yeah. So you want to cut like little pieces of tape, right? Just like little squares, you know this, and then just cover what. The reason why you're covering the aluminum foil is because the paper mache is not gonna stick to the aluminum foil. The aluminum foil is great to help us make sculptures, you know. So if you recycle your aluminum foil, this is great, you know. This is great, you know, like a great idea, you know. So here's, you know, so I'm working from scratch, you know, like, you know, if you're following us at home, you could go get aluminum foil. You know what? One time I did one of these examples. I didn't use any aluminum foil. You can use newspaper. Puedo usar solo newspaper. The thing with newspaper is harder to shape. So, but you can wet it a little bit and shape it, and then tape around it. You know, that's a little more tricky. You're not gonna have as much flexibility, but at the same time, you know, if you don't have the aluminum foil, that's another option, right? These are like this is more of a craft idea, right? So this is just kind of like a craft idea, and you know, like I said, these videos are geared towards the folks who are at home, and you can do tons of these things. You can create an entire village with animals, people, you know, out of this cardboard, aluminum foil, tape, pretty much all discarded materials. Think of how when you were little, you used to like create little toys out of wood blocks or just, you know, like anything. So that's the idea. We're being creative with the resources that we have, the resources, right? Okay, so this is gonna take a little while. All right, so now, Yara, can you give me a little bowl from one of the trays? So as you can see, I'm trying to speed it up a little bit, you know, because we're kind of doing this video. And so this is kind of the idea. Don't use, the smaller the pieces you use, the less of and then you crunch them in, you know, the more the tape will stick to the figures. All right, so just try to cover the tape areas. Okay, give me that bowl, thank you. So you get a bowl, and you add a little bit of water. Give me a couple of bottles of glue. They're in a box, this one right here. Yeah. So anyway, so this is gonna, you see how this guy's kind of falling apart? So you tape it together. You know, you tape it together from the middle. If you're at home with like, you have you know how a lot of people have extra fabric from making masks. You can use fabric to give these little figures like clothing. You know, use your imagination. You know, I really encourage that. You know, now I'm not gonna do all that because I don't have the fabrics or the you know, it's gonna be more elaborate. But you want to use a little bit of water, a little bit of glue. Let's see this bottle of glue. Okay, it's brand new, so I have to break it in. There we go. Now I'm gonna skip a few of the steps, not skip a few steps, but I'm gonna actually, you know, what you do, if you did paper mache, we use flour, right? But we're not gonna use flour. I'm not gonna use flour. In Spanish, we call it engrudo. It's like wheat pasting, or, you know, wheat paste that we make, right? But Tony, the teacher here, he told us that over time the bugs eat your sculptures because it's flour, right? So we make a watery, you know, glue. We dilute it with water, right? So we add just regular glue you can get from the 99-cent store, right? So this is the idea. Get a little bowl, right? Give me the newspapers that are, you know, just give me like a bunch right here, and I could use that. So you know, you dilute the glue. You keep adding if you think it needs to be more sticky. You know, just keep working the formula. All right. Can you point the camera to me so I can? And then you use the newspaper. The newspaper to, you know, what you do is you grab a sheet of newspaper, right? Let's see. And you rip it you shred it into small pieces, right? You shred it into kind of like this, small like shreds, right? Once you have that, you break into little squares. Yeah, we have a comment. Me has dado ideas para hacer flores y hacer una corona. Muy bien, Elizabeth. Elizabeth is commenting here that she has ideas to make flowers and crown. Sí, muy cierto. You can make puede hacer una flor con esto. Incluso esto puede ser una flor, ¿no? Nomás le agrega más con el aluminio, the aluminum, you can mold. With the aluminum, you can shape. Puede hacer figuras con el aluminio, ¿verdad? Y el tape para que pegue. If you come, like Elizabeth came to the class before, so she's a little familiar with this technique. Pero flowers, crowns, you know, mask for Day of the Dead, actually. I mean, if you want to do that, you could. So I'm going to work on this guy, you know, and I'm going to work on one of the little figures we did, right? Because just to show you that I'll work on this little guy. All right, we'll work on this little guy. Maybe my daughter can help me. One of these guys, or just cover it with tape while I do this. Is the camera pointing to this guy? Okay, good. So now that the camera's pointing there, I'll just basically kind of chat with you and guide you through this process. And this is a lot of patience, you know. This is not going to be done today, but I'm kind of showing you a process. Maybe next week we'll finish it, but, you know, this is how you do this, you know, giving you a little idea. Man, this will keep you busy for the rest of the quarantine. Like, I kid you not. You know, if you start working on this, we got maybe a couple of weeks or whatever, some people more, depending on the type of job they do. You know, this will keep you busy for the rest of the quarantine. I didn't want to start off with this project in the video, the first week, but I figure, you know what, this is probably This is probably you just need a table, and if you do mess up, you can put a cover underneath. You can use anything to protect, and if you clean up afterwards, like everything's fine. There's no big deal. So I'm working on this dinosaur that somebody here created with the same idea, the same idea of the aluminum, the tape. For the body, they might have used cardboard, like maybe, the end of a toilet paper, the rolls. Imagine this is you use that as a body. Maybe a discarded cup, like a plastic cup. You can use that and then just cover it with tape and aluminum foil and shape, we encourage recycling, we do definitely encourage recycling. So that's one of the things that we do with this project. Like we really encourage that. So now it's covering up all the tape. These are small steps. Wendy Garcia likes the video. Gracias, Wendy Garcia. Jackson, Yayo, thank you for sharing and supporting the cause. Shout out to Tony, who actually started this project, so he's the one that started doing this project. So he's the one that started doing this here at the gallery, and I'm kind of just carrying on, right? So I'm just sharing the process video, so you can do this at home while the quarantine's happening, right? So take your time. Sometimes, when parents come here with their child, they work together, Some kids, they want to work really fast, and then sometimes the parents want to work really fast, and they kind of have to help each other, and it's kind of like you build a relationship, a working relationship, as simple as it is. It helps you to clear the mind. It helps you to focus on something creative, and it helps both the parent and the child. We actually encourage parent and children to work together, because the child might have an idea that like, oh, I know what to do. I want to do this, and we encourage that, The parent might have another idea like, oh, like, let's do this. It's problem solving, and that translates to a good relationship with the family, communication, problem solving, all of that, mental health, like you focus on something positive, these are all the benefits of the arts and crafts and, the creative, music, dance, anything that's creative, like it, the creative arts, or the arts in general are essential, essential in many ways. We wouldn't have our without the artists of the past, we wouldn't have our science that we have, like. So shout out to all the scientists, all the artists, all the innovators, everyone that that had creativity and imagination, to think of an idea, execute it, invent something positive, something helpful to humanity, So this is elaborate, as you can see, if you're still watching us. You can work on your painting while you watch us. Like I work on several projects at the same time. Like, in fact, let me put a newspaper around this little guy. Well, I don't want to leave him behind. I'm kind of speeding up the process just to kind of like make the video a little more interesting to you. But in real life, you want to take your time and be patient. And right now we have a lot of time, right? So that's one of the things that we do tend to rush in our normal pre-pandemic times, right? We tend to rush. We tend to like, people are driving fast. Even now, people are driving fast, and because there's the traffic cleared up, but that's not necessarily good, because some folks are messing it up. They're driving too fast, Maybe they're stressed, and I encourage everyone to work on their creativity. It'll do wonders for your health. For your, people. Some people, they just say, "Oh, that's a hobby." If those folks, they just tried it, did a few things, that it would probably change their life. I'm telling you, this is power right here. Being creative, there's nothing like it. You remember when you were a child and you made up, you invented things in your mind, and it just felt great, right? And you don't need to be a child to be creative. You want to continue that. And all the inventors, right? Like they're still creating. Think about, like, I don't want to name names because everyone's got opinions about people, but like there's people who create things that are helping us right now. Like in a way, but yeah, there's benefits to everything, right? So here's this little guy. I'm putting this newspaper. So now I have to crunch them up, like make sure the newspaper sticks. That's one of the things that the faster you work, the harder it is for the paper to stick. So I'm having a little bit of that issue, but I can slow it down and kind of like press down on the actual figures, the actual sculpture. All right. And then you can do another layer. You let this dry a little bit, and you can see this this individual, right? So you can see this on the camera, Yara?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have this. You have this little guy right here. In fact, let's here's different samples. All right. Now I need to cover the dinosaur. Sometimes we want to cheat and put a big chunk of newspaper. Depending on the shape, you may be able to get away with that. But like I cover the stomach. Can you see this part? Yeah. So I cover the stomach, right? And I cover the stomach with the larger piece. And so you kind of cut the paper to kind of fit the area that you're using, right? So, take your time. I'm actually going to have to slow down a little bit so this dinosaur can get a good layer of newspaper. If you don't have newspaper, give me the paper bag. If you don't have let's see. If you don't have yeah, give me this. So you can see, you can use this too. You can rip it. You can get a paper bag, right? And you can rip it into. Actually, this one's stronger. Like this will make your. You just have to soak it in the glue water, and you can use this as well. You can see that right there. You see that? You can use that. You can use if you don't have newspaper, you can use that. And just cut like little shreds, little pieces. All right. I think my painting's drying. I might get to that painting. I'm switching between projects here. And you know what? I want you to do that. When you're at home, if a lot of times we want to stop. Like a lot of the kids, they come to the gallery. When they do the sculptures, and now they have nothing to do because they put all the layer. Then they either go home or wait for it to dry. A lot of the kids, they don't want to leave, so they'll put it on a fan. We have a couple of fans here, but even that's like a slow process. So, but I do encourage working on 2 assignments at once, maybe more. And you always stay busy, like I realized I was doing that. I have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 paintings, 1 in progress. And now I'm starting to go back to the sculptures. you know. So here's, you know, the sample, like the paper bag. Gotta add a little more water. Well, actually, I'm gonna finish that. I'm gonna finish that because once I finish that glue, I don't want to waste, you know, I don't want to waste glue. Then I'm gonna work on the painting. Oh, okay. So my daughter, she put can you see that right there? She put tape on this figure. I'm gonna go wash. Well, actually, let me see. Let me just talk about this for a little bit so you can see the process. First step, second step. Let me put it right here in front of this dinosaur. Right? You see that? You see that? Okay. First step, you make the shapes. You use aluminum foil, you use cardboard, you use anything you can, like, you know, you can use a balloon to make the little piggy bank, right? So this is the first step. Second step is you put tape to cover the aluminum. And then the third step is you use newspaper or paper bags with glue, with water glue. Or if you have a engrudo, which we call flour, you know, wheat paste, you can use that too. Just know that the bugs might want to eat your sculpture. But you can do that too if you want, you know. So step 1, 2, 3. And let's do a little bit of painting, you know. So let me put these guys to the side. Actually, let me finish. I have a little bit of glue and I don't want to waste it. So let me just wrap it up. Well, and then I'm going to show you the fourth step. So I'm kind of speeding up the process. In a way, this is good because this video you can rewatch. And basically, I'm giving you all the steps, hopefully in one video, or at least most of the steps. I may need to come back. So I have several works here that I can, that I'm showing you. If you're watching us, we appreciate that. Jackson, Yayo, Elizabeth, R. Martinez. And there are other folks who join us, you know, who are watching us from the other groups. Hola, Jackson. Jackson has a Facebook page called El Aguas Oficial. He does comedy, things like that. Make sure you follow him. He's a good guy. You know, he sells waters in the park, but right now it's in quarantine. There's no selling water, so okay, aguas, cuando abran el parque vas a vender aguas y te llevas unas bien heladas de aguas o Gatorades para que te compremos. Ok, amigo, ánimo. Ánimo, Elizabeth. Yayo's a teacher and a coach. Shout out to Yayo. Yayo is an artist. You know, is a good friend of mine. And he's a supporter of our music and culture. You know, so shout out to Yayo. He's done a lot of great support for, you know, charity events and things like that. So we go way back. You know, gotta do credit where credit is due. So here's the dinosaur. It's not completely done. I'm out of glue and I'm not gonna make more because I'm gonna show you the next step. I'm just kind of switching sculptures. Are these guys out of the way, mamas? Yeah. Okay, so we have, what I'm gonna do next, can you see this guy? Yeah. Okay, so what I'm gonna do with this guy, okay, this is something that we have here. It's been in progress for a little while, actually for a long time. It's one of the sculptures that was left here by one of our students. So when you're done with the other steps, you have to make sure this is dry. The newspaper has to be dry. And then you paint it. Once you're done with the sculpture part, you paint it white. We're going back to that priming, the priming aspect of it. What do we have? 5:20. We got a few more time, so we got about 40 more minutes. So we have enough time to actually prime this guy And then maybe the last 10, 20 minutes, we'll get back to our painting and see how much we can do. So spread the paint. Don't go too thick on the paint. The lighter you go on it, the faster it dries. That's kind of the idea. Now, a shark like this will take you longer to do versus the little figures, that my daughter and I did, and versus the other dinosaur, you know. So it's common sense, like larger, take longer, be more patient. So this is sort of like a live tutorial per se, because I am using projects that are in progress, and they've been just kind of sitting here, and I just figured let's put them to use, you know, to illustrate the steps. You know, bring me some of the samples that are finished, like the piggy bank, the maybe one of the masks, one of the birds. Bring me one of each if you can, please, so I can show folks what we're looking at to, you know, as far as like something finished, you know. So you want to prime this individual piece so that if we put white, then the colors will, you just set them right here. Like, hold on, just set them all here. And you can just pan down in the camera once you're, put it right here. All right, so we have this giant sculpture, and we just have to keep adding white. So Elizabeth had an idea to make flowers and crowns with this technique. That's great. Elizabeth va a hacer flores y coronas con esta técnica. So with this technique, you can do other things. You don't have to do what I'm doing. You could, but you can do other things, you know. We're just showing you kind of like the steps, showing you the tools. You can make anything. If you can sculpt it, you can make it, you know, like you can imagine it, you can make it, you know. So, you know, this is kind of coming along, this hammerhead shark. All right, so it's got to keep adding white, kind of prime the whole shape. The white so that the paint can stick to it. Because if you paint over the newspaper, the colors, the dark tone of the newspaper is gonna make the colors dark. And you want a vibrant sculpture, right? You want the colors on the sculpture to stand out. That's why we use white as a primer. You know, that's why we use, you know, in fact, I think I should probably use a bigger brush. I'm struggling here with this tiny brush when we got big brushes for like a 1 inch. Just dip it in and let's see. See, this is a faster. All right, just spread the paint. You know, if you have a variety of brushes, use them. Yep. Some of you folks are still watching us. Share the video if you can. You know, come. You know, watch the other videos too. This is, I believe, our either 6 or 7. You know, it's not the same as having to teach people personally, but at the same time, you know, we're not gonna sit still. And just like you're keeping busy at home, you know. Hopefully this helps you to carry on, to continue You know, especially the children who are still at home. We still have about a month left of the academic year, and some of the children are missing out on their art classes, their music classes. You know, for the most part, I was talking to my daughter, and they're mostly doing English, language arts, math. They are given directions for their music class, but it's not the same, you know. They're missing out on their art class, they're missing out on their PE, you know, they're missing out on a bunch of things. So anything you can add is gonna help them, you know. If you go outside for PE, just be responsible, you know, use a mask, protect yourself. If you're indoors, you have space in your house, you can work out, do exercise, you know. So there's, you know, our imagination it's a big tool, you know. It should always be a big tool for our survival, right? But now we really can use it, you know, like. But as an artist, we're always being creative, you know, like inventing things, finding solutions to problems. That's one of the things I love about the art. Like even just curating art shows, you know, sometimes there's a lot of things I have to overcome, you know, like certain permits, certain requirements. If we're gonna have music outside, we have to kind of accommodate and kind of like managing or you know, if I'm hanging up an artwork and the artist didn't provide a hanging mechanism, which they should, you know, like now I have to be creative and put it up, right? Usually I don't accept them if they're not professional, but with the community or exhibitions, we're a little more flexible because a lot of the folks are learning, and we try to encourage them to keep their creative ideas, so we don't necessarily turn them down. Not with the nonprofit, you know, we're more of a, like we'll help you along, you know, if you want to learn. You can also learn professional strategies, you know, so that's one of the things that I enjoy doing here as an art curator. Like helping you. I mean, true story. I'd helped artists like pack up their artwork to ship for sales. You know, it's like I didn't plan on that. They asked for the help, and I'd help one of the artists here like wrap up their artwork, send it for a buyer, like to another state. You know. So in that sense, I enjoy that part of my job here as a member, like to mentor folks. But I also work with professional artists too, when we do exhibitions outside of the gallery and other spaces and things like that. Anyway, so here's our shark. I think I got most of it, you know. I'm kind of like priming this guy pretty fast here. Yeah, not bad. So this shark, honestly, to be honest, was in a sense abandoned here. This one individual was making it during Tony's class, and the guy never showed up. I hope the man is all right, you know, and I kind of feel bad discarding it or recycling it, but eventually it served a purpose, right? So the individual's efforts are helping you and me right now. So we use that, you know, we use that. And I can probably touch up on some of the little areas of the shark where I didn't prime as much as I should. But I mean, I got like 90%, maybe 95% of the shark primed up. I'm just kind of trying not to add more paint, just kind of use spread it around like, all right. Whew, that was a lot of work. Anyway, so you can see here, this shark, I'm gonna paint it tomorrow. Not tomorrow, maybe next class, or I mean like the next session, right? So I did like a rough kind of job of like priming it. So here you go. This is the third step. The next step is you think of a color scheme. Give me a paper, white paper from there. So while this is drying up, I'm going to create a color scheme, right? Give me one of those blank ones. Yeah, give me a couple of those. So while this is going to be drying up, I'm going to I'm going to use white paper. You see the white paper here? I'm going to work on color schemes. All right. So I'll put this guy to the side. In fact, you know what? I'm going to need to look at his shape. There you go. Wait, let me see. There you go. So you're going to get a little bit dirty, paint all over, but you know what? That's okay. So I'm trying to copy the shape of this guy. Yep. Without damaging and moving it around. Okay. Let's see. Maybe I hold it and copy. Okay, I'm gonna do that. So it doesn't matter how my drawing comes out, because the purpose of this is going to be a kind of like a color scheme, right? Okay. Yeah, something like that, right? So let me put this to the side now. Now that I got the basic shape, let me work on this drawing just a little more. Now that I have the general shape. So this is the fin, the big fin that's right, and then this is the hammerhead part. Okay, so I have two. You can see that over there? Yeah. So now you want to use like color pencils, markers, crayons, anything to color it. You're like, you know, this is not necessarily going to be your normal. I mean, you could make it realistic, but to be honest, like, I encourage you to use your own creativity. So you get out your markers and you say, okay, what do I, you know, what color do I want? So instead of experimenting on the shark, because every time you change up the color, you're gonna have to prime it white. So so maybe, let's see, maybe I give it a red. Well, let's see, I kind of like the green. Let's see, I'm gonna give it a green. This is not going to be realistic colors, but I'm going to give it a green outline. I'm just playing with the colors, right? That's the purpose of the color scheme. This is called the color scheme, right? And when we're here in the gallery, this helps the students kind of stay focused, doing something while their sculpture's drying up. I'm gonna do this one pink with this highlighter, so you can see two different options. In fact, why don't you bring me all those drawings that are there and put them here? Well, like, so I can show some actual samples of like students' drawings, color schemes. A lot of the students, they don't keep the color schemes, and other students, they take them home, you know. So you can see, you can use this color, this other color. Tiffany Lita, shout out to Tiffany Lita, a great artist, watching us now. So this is our color scheme for our sculpture. So our drawings not necessarily. So these are some of the samples that some of the children did. These are sharks, dinosaurs, right? You can see they actually went, they did more. There's more mamas or no?
No.
Okay, so this is some of the, like here's a dinosaur, right? Let's say he did something like this, but, different shape. So this is the color scheme for this children's, this children's sculpture. This is a shark. There's another shark. There's another shark. And you can see a parent was actually teaching math here and alphabets while their sculpture was drying up. Here's another color scheme. So here's my current color scheme for my sculpture. So I'm just going to add color. This shark's not going to be a realistic shark. Elisa Ledesma. Elisa, what kind of brush I can use to draw very fine or thin lines? Well, great question, Elisa Ledesma. You want the smallest brush and you want a good brush. For that, let's see if I have a sample here. Actually, can you see that over there? Yeah. So Elisa Ledesma asked the question on the. So you can look at your smallest brushes you have. Depending on the type of line. This is a little bit bigger. This is a little bit smaller. Actually, I'll put them here. Let's do that because the white paper will probably give it a better look. So the smaller the brush, but see, these are fine brushes. You want brushes that are that the hairs are fine. This is what I'm talking about. Like this brushes here are cheap brushes. The hairs are more like grass, like dry grass. So they're more brittle, like harder to move around. Whereas these ones are fine. I don't know what kind of material this is. I've been using a needle. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I guess if you want to go like super thin, a needle is good. Like basically you're using that as kind of like a small, this is, what is this, a mechanical pencil, right? So you have something small. They actually sell ink pens. Ink pens are good for like details like that. You can experiment, like you can dip this into paint. Let's see what happens, right? So here's a mechanical mechanical pencil. Look at that. It's not bad, huh? Like, I'm just kind of making this up, But yeah, but they do have smaller brushes. These are the brushes if you're painting, right? But if you want something tiny, you can experiment with the needle is really fine. So I can see how that's helpful. The problem with that is like you have to hold it and it might be uncomfortable. Whereas the brushes already have a part to hold. They're made for that, but they actually sell smaller brushes, so you can experiment, like one of the things that I do with the brushes here when they become old, I kind of trim the edges. Give me a pair of scissors, got it? So like I'll show you, like this brush right here is kind of like worn at the front. So you grab some nice scissors and you can trim that, and just be steady. Boom, These are not good scissors. Give me another pair. These are actually, they don't have any sharp. Give me the gray one. Yeah, that one, the gray one. No, the gray one. Yeah, I know. It's broken from the handle, but I know it's really sharp because I used it before. So this is a good, there you go. So just trim the edges. There you go. Let me focus on this. I'm going to make yep. See, I kind of gave it a shape. And you can use an X-Acto knife and just kind of, so now I can use this brush and, and have a cleaner edge. This is not a small brush, but you want to get a brush that's already small, like it's meant for that. So we have another comment. I like to draw small pictures like birds, butterflies, something like that. So yeah, use smaller brush, right? And you can actually cut some of the hairs and make them smaller. You can cut some of the hairs out and even leave like 10 hairs, But that's gonna wear out and you're gonna run out of brushes, But that's okay. I usually don't draw that small, right? So I'm just kind of giving you ideas that I think may work. I usually just use like maybe this one. Let's see. I may use something smaller than this, but this is kind of like maybe about yeah, give me the smallest brush you can find there, please. And some of them have a really actually this one right here. Okay, this one right here has a pointy end, and that could help for like small. Here you go. See, this is a small line, right? Here you go. This is a small line I can use. But it sounds to me like you want something finer, right? And I think you're doing fine with the needle, but brush, you probably want to trim out some of the hairs if it's too thick, and that you're gonna have to. What I do, I will just I recommend watching videos on people who draw small and kind of look at what they use. A lot of times they use brushes that are already molded to give certain marks, and that's what we do as artists, right? Now that Elisa brought up the brush thing, now I'm using brushes to make my color scheme. That wasn't my plan, but that kind of worked too, because now I'm painting. All right, so getting back to the color scheme, let me. I'm being more of a expressive. There you go. Put a little bit of highlighter. Kind of got mixed up with the paint. All right, let's see. Put that over the. Sounds like a good idea. Thanks. Yep. So the whole thing about art is like we're experimenting, right? Like some artists focus on something, certain type of art, or and they develop like over time. You experiment, and then you borrowed ideas, like really most artists borrow ideas from other artists, and it's all good, like you can maybe add something to what they have and make it better, or make it work better for you. Like your idea may work for you, their idea may work for them, but we share a lot of things in common, right? Like nobody can say I invented drawing, right? I think the first drawings were, or that we know of, there might be drawings before, where cave paintings, right? They go back a long time, right? Here's another green. Kind of digging this green theme, kind of giving it a little bit of a texture. David Flores has joined. Shout out to David Flores. So we have this project here for the community, for the children, to keep them motivated. I got a couple of weeks more left of quarantine, and who knows how that's gonna be. You wanna be cautious and follow all the health orders and enjoy art while you have the time. A lot of times people say, oh, I always wanted to paint, but I don't have time. I gotta go to work. I gotta do this, do that. And, some folks say, oh, that's a great hobby. Make it part of your life if you really like it, like it'll do wonders to your mind. Like I didn't think about, like this was supposed to be a color scheme, and now I'm enjoying the drawing. Now I'm being a little bit expressive with this. Just kind of just trying out different textures. So this one I'm gonna go with the paint that I have here, since I already have it out. I'm gonna give it a little bit of a. So this is supposed to be color schemes, right? But they kind of turn into paintings, and it's all good. Well, how's that TV show goes? It's all good, man. Shout out to those people who are binge watching TV. Take a break from that, be creative, get on the canvas, paint something. You know, the quarantine's gonna be over and you're gonna be back to the grind. And you're always, you know, like one of the things that I'm doing with my life is learning music. I always wanted to learn guitar. The first time I picked up a guitar, I thought, man, this thing is hard. I don't even know how these people do this. Your fingers hurt, and you know. And to be honest, I tried it by myself and I quit. Right, and then my daughter came along with her music class, and I was like, you know, she's learning. I can learn with her, and not, you know, and not give up. But even though I had quit, I didn't want to. Like I wanted to revisit it. I always wanted to give myself time, and I got caught up with life and, you know, and doing things, and never really did it until my daughter took a violin in class, and in her school, 1 hour a week, which it's not enough to learn, but she did. Like, I'm learning music because my daughter inspired me. She inspired me to continue because, and then we have the services here at the gallery. So then, well, see, my drawing's kind of becoming a painting, right? And I'm going to enjoy this painting. So I took up art, music, you know, and I'm about 2 years into music, and I can teach beginning theory, or, you know, like beginning music, theory, beginning. So, you know, pretty much like I can teach you like about 2 semesters worth of music, the beginning. So I learned all that here at the nonprofit. And speaking of that, tomorrow I'm going to do a lesson on music. If you watch our videos, you can see some of the lessons that we've done. You can go back and watch those. You know, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like there's not a lot of free things out there, because a lot of artists, you know, we're trying to survive, and some people will charge you for a class, or, you know, or donations and things like that. You know, like I said, this is not required for you to donate or anything like that. I kind of feel like some folks might not like me, and it's just my own perception. I might be wrong. Not might like me doing this free things, because, you know, a lot of folks out there, you know, this is their livelihood, you know. But, you know, what we do here is our community. It's you know, the folks that cannot afford the $300 you know, 6-week or 4-week courses, you know. So this is offered, you know, for free, right? So we're like catering to the less fortunate. I mean, if you're a kid whose parents have tons of money, you know, hey, you know, you're fortunate, and that's okay, you know. Then you can support an artist, a teaching artist, and that's great, you know. You know, but here we do both. I mean, sometimes we do have where people sign up for a class, but most of the time our community events, like, you know, our classes are free to the community. I mean, you know, this last couple of months, it's a testament of that. We continue to show you assignments, right, for free on the internet, you know, to help out our community. And that's our small contribution to our, you know, to our community. And this is not only for Long Beach, this is for all the folks that can watch our signal. What time we have? Okay, we're almost gonna wrap it up. I think I'm gonna, so these are my color schemes. I tended to stay with the green. I'm not gonna make that sharp realistic. I'm gonna give it like some vibrant color, something maybe something, a combination of these two. So these are your color scheme paintings, you know, or assignments, or, you know, you can see I got the drawing from the actual sculpture, and you know, so this is something that any child can do, right? If you want to keep them, if you want your child to keep their drawings, you can sign them, you know. You can grab a little bit of paint and put your initials, your name, right? You know, you can sign them. Yeah, I'm trying to use up this paint so it doesn't go to waste. All right, maybe use a clear area. You know, sign it. All right, before we wrap up this transmission, hey, my name kind of took over. But anyways, this is only a color scheme. Before we close this transmission, I'm gonna go back to the, I'm gonna paint a little bit of the, what was it, the other, let me just bring it out. So switch up gears a little bit. Actually, you know what, let me focus on this. Just kind of show the finished products of some of the sculptures, right? Oh, and this is dry, so I'm not going to mess up the pig, but these are examples, you know. Can you focus? So this pig, this pig is a sculpture that was made in the same way as the dinosaur and the other little guys, but this was made with a balloon. So we blew up a balloon. Here's actually a little bit of the tail you can see. So the balloon became kind of like the inner shape. That's what I meant by you can use anything to start your shape. Did you use aluminum for this one? No. So the balloon was like, was the beginning shape, and she skipped the aluminum because she didn't need aluminum. She didn't need to shape it. The balloon was the shape. Okay, the balloon was the shape. And then she just used this next method of putting newspaper. You see this little guy? That was the next step. And you needed like how many layers? Like 2 or 3? More? Okay, so she's telling me more layers, because if you don't use enough layers, the paper will crunch in, and your sphere will be like, will suck in and kind of crush inwards. So she did like more than 2 or 3, like maybe 4 or 5, maybe about 5 layers. So you can see it's very hard, right? And so she painted it afterwards, gave it this like pinkish. So this pig has like this cool ears that she did we did this out of cardboard. We kind of cut the cardboard into a shape, and we use a hot glue gun to tape it, or to glue it, because the hot glue guns are great for arts and crafts, and they stick pretty good. So here are the ears, right? We painted them. Yep, and then this is, what is this, aluminum foil? Like this little earring that this pig has. This band, this blue band, is a belt of things that, you know, like the Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts. Well, this is a pig scout. This pig has little badges of things that the pig does, like making cookies maybe? Making cookies, like drinking lemonade, right? Or something fresh. What is this? Drying. This is pencils. Right, the little thing. Oh, painting, drawing, painting, little hearts of like love, like just spreading love and being a kind person. Music. So this pig has accomplished many things: writing, music, you know, loving people. This is a sunset, right? Kind of like a sunset. So these are like many little paintings here. Brush for painting, pencils for drawing. What is this? Magic. Oh, it's a magic wand. So these are like little different things that, you know, that we can do, you know, art, music. Anyway, so these are like little badges that this pig has. The feet were made out of like, what was it? Egg? Egg. Egg carton from an egg. Egg cartons, right? So here you go. These are 4 of them. We kind of put them close to each other. You can spread them out, like it's all good. This one was like a little tiny cup that we use for and she wanted to keep the tail. I told her it will crunch up and kind of fall off. But she's like, I don't care. I like the tail, how it's like, you know, so you can still see the pig right here. Anyways, so bye pigs. Say bye to the folks out there watching us. Thank you for watching us. So this is a what is this? A mask. Right, we showed different masks. This is the inside of the mask, which is, you don't have to finish the inside, But you can see it was started with aluminum, paper mache, and you just keep adding and painting the same way. We have a little hummingbird, right? These are the things that we do normally here at the gallery, right? So now that I showed you that, I'm gonna, maybe I paint a little bit of this ships. Let's see. I'll work on this. Put the camera right here, Mama. So I'm gonna work on this for a little bit. I know I'm working a little bit overtime, but I did start a little bit late. I'm gonna read your comment in a minute. I'm gonna, let's see, use a little bit of this paint. We have, yep, so let's see. Here's a little bit of a brown acrylic paint. There we go, a little bit of a craft paint. You have to shake it because I poured and only the oil came out. So paint you have to shake before you pour it out. There you go. All right, this is not the color but you know what? I can probably use, here's the oil. There you go. So I'm gonna, there you go. I can use this. Actually, I can use this. It's, what color is this? All right, this acrylic paint doesn't have a color name, but you know what? It's kind of like this brownish, beige, kind of like skin tone. I'm gonna use that for this, for the ships. See, now that the white is dried, I can actually put color. I actually wanted to use brown for this mountain thing, but I'm gonna use darker. Maybe I'll throw in a little highlights. This is gonna be darker, but I wanna use this paint as to create a little bit of a texture, to build it up, right? All right, so I think, let's see. Yeah, that's it. So I'm gonna let this part dry. So we have a comment here. See you next week. Thanks. Thanks, Elisa. Thanks, David Flores. Thanks, Elizabeth, Jackson, Yayo, everyone that joined us. Tiffany, Art Martinez, Jackson, aka El Aguas Oficial, Yayo International. We have a few more weeks and we'll probably reopen in some form, but more details about that. We are not officially announcing anything, but we are looking forward to a sense of going back to being able to have folks in person in a safe way, right? So anyways, folks, this is it. Thank you guys, everyone, for watching. Let me put this paint up like this. There you go. Let me actually put all these guys here to say goodbye to our viewers. Here you go. So here's a little bit of our drawings, right? Anyway, so thank you guys for watching us. See you guys next time. Today was more focused on the arts and the crafts part of what we do here with the sculptures, right? The big shark here. Let me bring this guy over. Here you go. So today was more of a focus on this part of the assignment. But at the same time, I wanted to encourage you to work on several projects at once. You know, that'll keep you going. It'll make it more interesting. You know, so keep working on your art. Hopefully you can continue either today or another day. Work at your own pace. Revisit the videos we have. I believe this is our either 7th or 8th video that we've done. So you can revisit the assignments. Take care of yourselves. Take care of friends, family, your children, your parents. Take care of your community. Follow the orders. It's not about one of us, it's about all of us. All right? Check in on your neighbors. Check in on your friends, your fellow artists. Everyone stay safe out there. See you next week. Thank you for watching.